Questions presented by this impeachment inquiry are whether President Trump sought to exploit that ally's vulnerability and invite Ukraine's interference in our elections.
What we will witness today is a televised theatrical performance staged by the Democrats.
We'll begin by swearing you in.
There appear to be two channels of U.S. policymaking and implementation, one regular and one highly irregular. By mid-July, it was becoming clear to me that the meeting President Zelensky wanted was conditioned on the investigations of Burisma and alleged Ukrainian interference in the 2016 U.S. elections. I heard a staff person from the Office of Management and Budget say that there was a hold on security assistance to Ukraine. All that the OMB staff person said was that the directive had come from the President.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth?
I became increasingly aware of an effort by Rudy Giuliani and others to run a campaign to smear Ambassador Yovanovitch and other officials at the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv. I became alarmed as those efforts bore fruit. They led to the ouster of Ambassador Yovanovitch.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I have never met Hunter Biden, nor have I had any direct or indirect conversations with him. And although I have met former Vice President Biden several times over the course of our many years in government service, neither he nor the previous administration ever raised the issue of either Burisma or Hunter Biden with me. They shared baseless allegations with the President and convinced him to remove his ambassador, despite the fact that the State Department fully understood that the allegations were false and the sources highly suspect. I want to reiterate first that the allegation that I disseminated a do not prosecute list was a fabrication.
And raise your right hand. I will begin by swearing you in.
It was improper for the President to request to demand an investigation into a political opponent, especially a foreign power where there's at best dubious belief that this would be a completely impartial investigation, and that this would have significant implications if it became public knowledge, and it would be perceived as a partisan play. It would undermine our Ukraine policy, and it would undermine our national security.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
As I testified before, I believe what I found unusual or different about this call was the President's reference to specific investigations, and that struck me as different than other calls I had listened to. I thought that the references to specific individuals and investigations, such as former Vice President Biden and his son, struck me as political in nature, given that the former Vice President is a political opponent of the President.
And raise your right hand. I will begin by swearing you in.
At the one in-person meeting I had with Mayor Giuliani on July 19th, Mayor Giuliani raised and I rejected the conspiracy theory that Vice President Biden would have been influenced in his duties as Vice President by money paid to his son. I have known Vice President Biden for 24 years. He is an honorable man, and I hold him in the highest regard. I decided to tell President Zelensky that we had a problem with the information reaching President Trump from Mayor Giuliani. I suggested that he call President Trump directly in order to renew their personal relationship and to assure President Trump that he was committed to investigating and fighting corruption.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Feared at the time of the call on July 25th how its disclosure would play in Washington's political climate. My fears have been realized.
What did Ambassador Sondland say to tell you that he told Mr. Yermak?
That the Ukrainians would have to have the Prosecutor General make a statement with respect to the investigations as a condition of having the aid lifted.
And nothing but the truth, so help you God.
The suggestion that we were engaged in some irregular or rogue diplomacy is absolutely false. Mr. Giuliani's requests were a quid pro quo for arranging a White House visit for President Zelensky. Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew these investigations were important to the President. While the Ukrainians were in Washington at the White House, Mr. Giuliani was communicating with the Ukrainians without our knowledge. Mr. Giuliani was communicating with the reportedly corrupt Ukrainian prosecutor Lutsenko and discussing whether a Zelensky-Trump meeting was going to happen, again without our knowledge. When the president says, talk to my personal attorney, and then Mr. Giuliani, as his personal attorney, makes certain requests or demands, we assume it's coming from the president. I'm not testifying that I heard the president tell Mr. Giuliani to tell us, so.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
In a series of interagency meetings, I heard that the president had directed the Office of Management and Budget to hold the funds because of his concerns about corruption in Ukraine. I have never discussed this or any other matter with the president and never heard directly from him about this matter.